So we got some a few differences today for this podcast, don't
Oh, yeah. We've got a little darling in studio. Miso's,
Me?
Miso, Vic's dog's made her way all the way from New Zealand.
Yes.
She's flown over and God, she's happy to be here.
One thing everyone's like, oh, is she accustomed, she jet lagged, all of this. And I was like, no, but one thing I've definitely noticed is the shit on London streets. Like when I'm taking her for a walk, the amount of chicken bones, the amount of vomit,
really?
the amount of rubbish. I'm like, nope.
Ooh,
Miso must just
yuck.
be like, what is this place?
She probably loves that though, doesn't she?
You just notice how much, I feel like I'm constantly like yanking her. Anyway.
Has she adapted to the tube and public transport?
Yeah, I just don't think dogs have been very nice to her.
Oh.
British dogs.
Oh, really? Your poor baby's being bullied.
I know. I'm like, you'll be accustomed soon. She'll have a British bark in no time.
Do you think that they
She
can
must
smell that she's
definitely. She'll smell different. Yeah,
Oh my God. She's put on a little bit of weight, hasn't she?
that's what my sister said. I mean, she's just.
Vic's like, no, she hasn't.
She's just
she's
my
fine.
baby. She's perfect in every way.
I like her a bit chunkier.
No, but like I had her in the co-working space this morning, and every single person that walked through the door, she would get up and go and like follow and like sniff and say hi, and they're like, oh my God, Misa. And it was so exhausting. I was like, oh my God. I was like, she's a terrible guard dog. And then someone joked, yeah, if a robber came, she'd be like, hi, yeah, take the TV, yeah, go, bye, see you.
Also,
So true.
you're not the sort of person to randomly start a conversation with random people, but having a dog, especially in a co-working space,
Yeah.
I feel like this is a brilliant way for you to get out of your shell, because
Yeah.
you're like, have to talk to these people that are like, your dog's cute.
I'm just always apologizing. I'm like, sorry.
Oh my God, no, they
sorry,
would
she's
love
weird.
her.
Oh, sorry, she's friendly. Sorry, she's, it's like.
No.
Yeah, no, they do love it. Well, some people do. I feel like some people are like, okay.
Get away.
Yeah.
I also just like to apologise for my voice sounding like 10 octaves too low.
Yeah, it sounds like we've got Stephen Hallwright.
Yeah. Stephen Hallwright had a big weekend in Morocco. And actually, to be fair, Stephen was on his best behaviour
I
in
love
Morocco.
that you were like, I was in bed by 2 a.m. every night.
I was. Some people were up till 9 in the morning.
I find that, that's wow.
Like, I really was so well behaved. Like, I had a good time. I partied. Yes, I had alcohol, but I was being quite, I was like, I can't afford to get sick right now, you know?
Yeah.
And then what happens? I get sick anyway. It's devastating.
I feel like you must have all been like hooking up with each other or something.
No, I think it's because there was water bottles. You can't drink the tap water. And so there was just sort of water bottles everywhere and everyone kind of just would swig them all.
Water bottles.
Oh, God, go away. Do you know what's funny? There was actually only, not funny, but there was 30 people.
Yeah.
And only 3 people were single. Like lots of people's
Oh, it was like Sicily all over again.
boyfriends or
God.
partners weren't there.
Yeah.
But it definitely wasn't, there wasn't much gossip happening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
gosh.
finance chat.
Okay. So, how much do you think you need to retire with? Not retire, sorry, for your 20 holiday.
So how I've recently started thinking about it, by the way, can anyone hear Miso breathing? She's so keen to
Have her up on the thing now.
Come on.
I just didn't want.
Vic was pretending that her dog's really well behaved and doesn't get on the sofa. And as soon as our technician's out of the room, she's like, all right.
I know. And it doesn't molt and it doesn't. Sorry.
Okay, so my 20-year holiday. So the way that I've recently been thinking about this is if I earn at the moment, I'm earning £45,000 a year, which is about 90,000 New Zealand. That's not really enough for me right now anyway.
Yeah.
So if I think about 20 times that, what even is that? Like 100,000 times 20. What is that?
2 million.
2 million.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I need probably, I would say at least 2 million. I maybe honestly 3.
Yeah.
I plan on having quite a fun retirement, aka
I like that.
20-year holiday.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well,
what have you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
I mean, a girl can dream.
Yeah. No, a girl can put action in place.
But my point is, I would like to have a decent amount.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not currently on track to get there.
Yeah.
So might have to make some changes. But what?
Well, there was a study that came out that said the typical person needs $1.5 million to retire,
And is that New Zealand dollars?
And that's to retire comfortably. That's US dollars.
Oh, yeah. So that's about 3 million New Zealand.
Roughly. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
But the issue is that the average person has about $88,000 in their retirement savings.
That's not even 1 year's salary.
Yeah. So they need 17 times more than that to retire. So yes, we talk about compound interest and that does a lot of the
Wait, sorry, 87, do you mean US or?
Yeah, this is all in US dollars.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So you need 1.5 million US dollars to retire on average, and those people have $88,000 on average currently. So there is a lot of heavy lifting that needs to be done. And
does the government step in and that's it? Because you can't have majority of people all of a sudden living on the streets because they can't afford to not work. Like,
there is a state pension depending on which country you're in. Like, there is a pension, but it doesn't go very far at all. Like, you can't rely.
Blows my mind that is the state of majority of our.
And also that this is like poor elderly people that will be, like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't even want to think about it. But yes, this number, this like magic number of 1.5 million that the study found is 50% higher than what it was pre-pandemic. So this is just like making people's lives more stressful now, having to save more, but there's a cost of living crisis, all of that stuff. But naturally, baby boomers need less because they're closer to that retirement age.
I don't understand that though.
Yeah, so I guess with that is that things are going to get more expensive later in life. So Gen Zs who are younger, by the time they reach retirement, inflation, all that is going to be way more expensive. Things are going to be more expensive, therefore you're going to need more money.
Okay.
But the beauty that they've got is they've got time. So if they start now, then they've got time to get that.
Oh my God, are you about to say we're going to be the most fucked over?
No.
Millennials? I thought you were going to say like boomers are close to their...
No, but every single Gen Z, millennial, baby boomer, like everyone is in a bit of a shit situation. None of those generations is financially sorted for retirement. It's also that one really intriguing thing is that Gen Zs expect to retire at 60 but live to 100. So they're going to have 40 years by the time they get to retirement. So that's another thing as well. So not only is everything getting expensive, we're living longer. So Gen Zs are going to need a greater amount of money because it's got to go further. So instead of 20-year holiday, they might have a 40-year holiday.
I want a 40-year holiday.
Yeah. Well, then you can retire at, I don't know when you're going to die, but.
Oh my God. I started watching One Day, the Netflix show. Have you seen it yet?
With the.
Oh my God. Honestly.
With the couple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh my God, we don't all live forever, you know?
Oh yeah, she gets hit by a bus.
Oh, okay. Warning to anyone that...
Sorry, I forgot the ending. And I was like, what has this got to do with? Sorry. Someone's probably like just about to watch the last episode. Okay,
we really must like preface like if you're watching One Day in the description.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry if that's ruined it for anyone. Also, she doesn't get hit by a bus, but you know, along the lines of. I'm just trying to mix it up so that you know.
Maybe he gets hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, whatever. Yeah. Life is short,
okay,
etc.
Life is short. Carpe diem, YOLO, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And some more kind of stock market news, and this was one that I loved researching, but Calvin Klein isn't doing very well.
No.
And I was like, well, must research why. And then just got in a hole of like all these hot guys in undies.
What is it about the Calvin Klein underwear? It is universally a sex icon,
honestly,
isn't it?
Like you could, not saying that dad bods aren't sexy, but like you could put
anyone in Calvin Kleins.
Even if you didn't find them attractive.
And you'd be
instantly,
like,
you've gone up a few notches. Yeah.
They've
done a great job at branding and marketing.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
reckon even if I put on Calvin Kleins, I'm a bit like, oh. Hello.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I sent a sexy photo of my Calvin Kleins the other day, but they're like giant briefs. They're not even like a G-string. Yeah. They're like big underwear, and the top of them is Calvin Klein, but I still reckon they're hot.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not, but I was like,
you're like, I look good. So and like sexy. No response. You're like, oh, okay. But I even remember seeing like guys with a little like Calvin Klein popping over the jeans and like walking in the street and you just feel like, oh.
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, so this was a nice one to research. I mean, it's not hugely relevant, but so Calvin Klein is owned by a company called PVH, and its share price fell about 20% because Calvin Klein isn't doing too well. So it also owns Tommy Hilfiger, which I kind of think, kind of having a resurgence, but they've been having a bit of trouble for a while, those two brands, which... Yeah, I know. Soft just a real confused.
Well, face. I still see, and I see vintage Calvin Klein
Yeah.
and Tommy Hilfiger everywhere. I kind of would have thought,
Like Tommy Hilfiger I get because it's like clothing, but Calvin Klein, yes, they've got clothing, but like the majority of it is underwear. And in a recession and all of that, you still need undies.
but are you going to be buying, I mean, they're expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be spending $100 on 3 pairs of underwear.
Or
If
you're
it's
gonna go to,
you're
like-
probably going to go to Cotton On Body
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, this would have been, in my thinking, I would have been like, oh, this is like a supermarket. You know, like underwear is pretty stable. People are still going to need to buy it in a recession. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe people just let
themselves go, is it?
or just like wear them a bit longer with a few more holes. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if you can wear underwear with holes in it, can
No.
you? No.
No,
It's time
yeah.
for those to go.
Yeah, true. Anyway.
You might
So-
need to do a bit of an overhaul there, I think.
No,
but-
I'm very strict about no hole underwear. No, I remember I used to, maybe it was like when I was like at uni or something. And then I was like, oh my gosh, living with people and having like holy underwear and doing the washing and like also with a boyfriend. And yeah, it's not like, yeah.
Hey, pass me my undies, sweetie. And there's like,
multiple holes and
like
I'm trying to
hole
put the
on the-
leg through because there's
Nah.
so many. Anyway, so
can I just say though, on the underwear front, do you know what I reckon is hard? Is finding that time when you can start to introduce the, you know, the period undies or the giant undies or
Yeah.
the ugly ones. Because if you're dating somebody, you know, it's
Going from this-
unrealistic
yeah.
to think that, you know, all of the underwear we wear is cute and sexy. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not.
I do it pretty quickly.
Do you?
Fuck going to bed in a lacy
Oh,
G-string.
God,
or like,
how
yeah.
uncomfortable is that? I hate sleeping in a G-string. It's just, it feels like I'm all over the show.
Yeah. Also just, not nice.
Sorry. Okay.
Anyway, so PVH, the company that owns Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger, has kind of been going through a transformation and trying to reinvigorate the two brands, but it's obviously not doing very well, and particularly in Europe. So Europe's not doing fantastic at all. So yeah, the share price fell a lot.
What other brands are in PVH?
Those two.
Just two.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
But another stock that hasn't been doing too well either is Tesla. So they had their results last week and the amount of cars they produced wasn't as much as people had expected and the share price fell. And Tesla is actually the second worst performing stock in the S&P 500. So out of all the top 500 companies in the US, Tesla is the second worst this year.
wow.
Yeah. Considering we were talking about how well it's done and
Oh my
everything. Like it just
gosh.
goes to show like share prices go up and down. But again, if you believe in the long-term story of Tesla and that it's going to dominate the
I don't know. I'm
EV.
kind of starting to jump off of Tesla's bandwagon. Is that just me being a sheep?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it?
Yeah.
But I must say, there's like if this is the second time they've dropped prices, because I remember in the Curve Weekly during the pandemic, you said they had to drop the prices of their cars.
Yeah.
If they're doing that again,
No, it's just the output wasn't as much as
Oh,
people. So
okay.
the demand, the amount of cars they sold, that's not. So then people have got bigger questions like, oh, okay, does that mean that people are not wanting electric vehicles?
well, what
You know,
about
like-
other brands? Are there other brands that are doing well in that space?
Yeah, there is other brands that are doing well. So then it's like, oh gosh. But then the brands that did well, their share prices fell as well. So people are just getting a bit skeptical about this whole transition to electric vehicles. And
Why though? What has there been any news or research out about them being?
well, like people aren't demanding as many cars by the biggest electric vehicle car maker. That's surely an indication that people are. I also reckon, side note, I'm trying to sell my car right now in New Zealand and holy shit, I'm getting no bites.
Is this a strategic comment on the podcast?
Yeah. Oh my God. Actually, it's on Trade Me Anyone in New Zealand if you do want it. No, but I honestly reckon it's just people are strapped for cash right now. No one is swapping out for a new car. People are probably holding on to their cars longer.
Everyone's wearing holy underwear.
Yeah, times are tough. We're going to be driving shit cars with holes in our undies.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
So anyway, but I saw this thing on TikTok and
just so cool and youthful.
I know. And I feel like I was like, this one time at Bangkok,
Yeah.
a lady was going around asking people, can you name a female CEO? And I thought I'd put it to you. Can you name a female CEO?
Jolie,
I knew you'd say that.
because we interviewed her.
I know. Okay, maybe.
Okay, wait. Let me think of another one. Oh my God, I've got no others.
Honestly, every single person was like, no, shit. Let me think about it. Like,
holy shit.
And it was quite a realization of like, oh my goodness. It was really, really depressing to watch. And then I remember this thing that my mum sent me, and it was like the highest paid CEOs in New Zealand. And
I love that Eileen starts to send like content for the curve. It's just brilliant. My mother could really step her game up.
And I looked down at it and I was like, wow, there's people getting paid a lot. And then I was like, hang on. I was like, where are the women? There was one woman out of the top 10 highest paid CEOs in New Zealand. There was one woman. And I was just
how many, sorry?
Out of 10. There was 1 out of 10, 10%. It was just like, I don't know, she was the CEO of ASB, which is a large bank in New Zealand. But I was just like,
sorry, is this the highest paid?
Highest paid CEO, yeah.
I wonder what the total amount of, like the percentage of just general CEOs, regardless of what they're getting paid, would be. But, sorry, this is another segue into another article that you sent me, actually. I didn't have to do much research this week. It was great. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
This was from Shit You Should Care About that sent it out. They're a New Zealand media company, and I read their EDM, and I just thought, it was about the world's billionaires, right?
Yes, yeah. There's now more billionaires than ever in the world. There's 2,700 billionaires. So we're not talking millionaires, we're talking billionaires, which is about 140 more than last year. So we're getting richer. Well, the billionaires are. Yeah.
It's like the 0.00001% is getting richer.
Totally, yeah.
And the rest of us can't afford new underwear.
Oh my God, the disparity is probably getting wider and wider. But anyway, in the US, there's over 800 billionaires. That was the biggest one. And then China, and then India. But in the top 20 billionaires in the world, there was one woman. Top 20 billionaires in the world. There was one woman. She is the granddaughter of the L'Oreal founder. So
what number was Taylor Swift?
3,500 and something.
No, because if there's only 2,700, she can't have been 3,000.
Yeah, good point.
Oh God, I'm glad someone's onto it.
300 and something then. She was way, way, way down.
Because I was skipping
through. She had like 1 billion.
I was skipping through the list for a while to see how many people were under 40. And then just looking to see what their...
You could just filter.
Okay, well, I'm not very good at spreadsheets, okay? No. I was, whatever. I was going page. And there wasn't very many people under 40, but everyone that, not everyone, but most of the people that were super young billionaires were all in the tech space.
Yeah.
I was like, that's quite interesting.
Yeah. Taylor Swift was a new addition. But in the top 50, there was only 7 women. Which is just like, I'm
honestly, I'm really starting to get sick of this conversation. I know that you're trying to highlight it, but
I won't go into the next topic then.
God, what is it?
So Goldman Sachs, which I know.
No. So Goldman Sachs is a big financial institution based out of the US.
Yeah.
So they
massive
basically
global institution, investment bank.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Wealth management. They're kind of, I guess, the pinnacle in the finance industry. You've got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, UBS. They're all like the big names. So there was a pretty damning article that came out about them saying that the gender pay gap at their firm is 50%. I know.
Why would they release that publicly?
You have to. In the UK, you have to disclose your pay disparity.
50%.
50.
Did anyone walk out when they found? I'd be so fucked off.
I would just be like, so they're saying that it's because there's less women in senior leadership roles. So that's why it's an overall firm thing. But I'm like, still, that's an issue. That's such an issue.
We were actually speaking to an investor yesterday, and I know we've mentioned we're raising funds on the podcast, but we were speaking to this amazing guy in the US who we've been in touch with for ages. Ever since we spoke at Oxford, he's amazing. And at their company, they've just made, because Vic actually, it was such a good question. She was like, how, if you've got 23 out of 30 employees are women, how are you creating a space for them to, have families and blah, blah, blah? And he was like,
because he said that they've enforced a in the office rule, because as a startup, he's noticed that you have to be. And I was like, I totally get that. but that discourages women.
Because it's hard, because 9 to 5 for someone to be in the office. And he was like, yeah, totally. We've made it 10 till 3.
Yeah.
So it gives you space in the morning to look after kids, pick up kids in the afternoon, work when works for you.
And any important meetings are done between 10 and 3.
And I just was like, it's not that hard to come
I
up with
know.
solutions, is
I
it?
know.
It's really not.
Yeah.
Wow, genius.
It's just change. Change scares people. And when you've worked a certain way for so long, you know, even me changing from working in the finance industry and being in the office super early and being super focused and dedicated in my job to, you know, being super relaxed
so
and fun
easy
to be around.
It is. You are a product
your
of your
face. You're like, what are you about to say? Because I call bullshit.
No, because it was more just like when you were going down the change route, I thought you were going to be like, you know, I'm so good with change. I'm just like, I'm just easy breezy. You know, you change my schedule, fine. Literally yesterday we were doing a presentation and it was like an hour before and I'd moved some slides around and I was like,
you can feel the panic in my
I
voice.
just knew she was going to panic. So I was like, please let me know when you have seen this so we can chat before. Because I was like, I reckon she's just going to be like, no, I'm not okay with that. But no, you're right. I think it's I think it is just about exploring different options.
Totally. Yeah. And anyway, so female employees at Goldman Sachs earn 50% less than men, which is
Can we finish on a high cut? I'm like, it makes me mad.
I guess just carrying on from this is that, remember we spoke a while back about Beth Hammock, and she was that lady that had been at Goldman's for 30 years. She was in line to be, and so she left, and there's been
update, because some people might not have heard that.
Yeah. We'll go back
just because I remember. She's like, okay, won't explain.
So this lady, Beth Hammock, she'd been at Goldman's for 30 years. She was on track to be, I think, a CFO. Like, she was kind of the pinnacle lady at Goldman Sachs, and then she left.
And she was going to be the first woman in a serious leadership position, right?
Ever. At Goldman Sachs. But this is a bank that's been around for 150 years. So they have never had, where is the list? I was like shocked. They have never had a chairperson, a chief executive officer, a president, or a CFO that's a woman. I'm just like, you're the biggest bank. You've got the biggest pool of people that you can choose from that are in the finance industry, or, you know, I just think there must be a cultural thing that women don't like working there. Or
should we do like go undercover?
Yeah.
Try and find some and just go undercover, either apply for a job or we just put on some balaclavas and go and do some TikTok interviews. Like, what's it like working at Goldman Sachs?
Yeah. That's a good idea.
You know, like maybe we get the inside scoop. Yeah.
But I hope one takeaway I took from this was that we don't have to invest in Goldman's. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is quite a good, I feel like there'd be a lot of women that would read this or hear this and go, I don't want to invest in Goldman. I don't want to ever work there, but I don't want to invest there. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. But this is a great example of how you can vote with your wallet. And if you are an investor, then speak your case. Say to them, be like, hey, I'm not happy that this is the pay disparity between men and women at your firm. And you might be a small voice, but if you multiply that by 100,000 other people, I don't know. It's a good example that if you're not happy with how a company is run, you can bring change or not invest in it.
You always, ages ago, I remember when you were first explaining how the stock market worked to me and how stocks work, and you're essentially a shareholder, which means you own shares of a business, which technically means you sort of own a little tiny slice of it, and therefore you can have a voice. Yeah. And even though it's a small one, you can. And I think, it's kind of only really sunk in. I understand that concept so much more now. It's more the idea that your money can be powerful.
Totally.
And whether you put it somewhere or you decide to divest it somewhere else because you don't agree with something. But you can also speak up and ask questions. You don't just have to do it without saying anything. Yeah. And I think if you feel like being a Karen, you can totally be a Karen.
Karens bring about change in finance world.
Yeah.
You kind of want to be a Karen in the finance world. Yeah.
Maybe we should rename her then.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something that doesn't sound so gnarly, because I would not want to be a Karen. Maybe a Karina.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
No? Okay, we'll workshop that.
Like Kim.
Oh, yeah. Kim. It's but Kimmy K every time.
Yeah, I know. Claudia. With a K.
Claudia?
Anyway, sorry, not relevant. We'll take this offline and come back to you with a
brainstorm.
name.
Oh, we actually do have something exciting happening in May. Our
Yes.
Our Foundations of Investing course is coming back. We're not even sure if we're going to do this twice this year. It may only be once. So if you're thinking that you want to learn how to invest, or you've listened to the podcast for ages and you're still not really investing properly, then we'll link the details in the show notes, the podcast.
Yeah. And this is a 6-week online course, and we have live check-ins along the way. So if you get stuck and need to ask questions or want to meet other people that are doing it, we've got that, and it is 749 Kiwi dollars. And there's also payment plans. So yeah, head to the website for more info.
Invest in yourself, etc., etc.
etc.
Join us at the top of the curve, etc., etc.
Yes.
No, but in all
Join us
seriousness,
at the bottom to get to the top.
Yeah. Much better.
Yeah.